18.
It's gonna be on. Good evening, good evening. Is it time? Is it time? Good evening, good evening. This is Lady Estelle and the Street Soldier Crew, and we are back for another Sunday evening with you. Your host this evening is glad to see that we are still here. We are healthy, we are alive and free, ready to vote, ready to get this thing over with and see how it's gonna be. Your host, Dr. Joseph E. Marshall Jr.
Thank you, Lady Estelle. Good evening, street soldiers everywhere, live and free, live and free. Excuse me, radio on the air one more time. Our last pre-election show. That's it. We've been talking about this for a minute. Everybody's tired. Everybody is exhausted. It will all come to an end this Tuesday, November 5th. Vote, 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 vote. We're going to say that throughout the night, throughout the show, over and over again. Vote, 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 vote. All right. I got my vote in. I voted. I done. I mailed it in. I'm counted. Wonderful. You know, it actually feels good to do that, Ann. It feels good to do that. Feels good to get the vote. But let me say hello to everybody first. Good evening, Gilmore. Good evening, Lady E. Good evening, Ann. Good evening, Soul. And how was your Halloween, everybody? Let's do Halloween first. Let's do Halloween.
Soul is classic. You must tune in to our YouTube channel right now, YouTube Live at Stay Alive and Free, and you can see, the soul.
Oh,
What
don't want to meet your mama. Oh,
Mike, what you got on, man?
It's a
now what's cooler than being cool? Ice cold.
Love it.
Man.
He been doing that for a minute, man. I mean, I never did that, man. But what's up? What's up?
What's up, Soul? And to all my Beyonces and Lucy Lou's out there. Give me some sugar. You know I am your neighbor. Oh.
Lady E, do you see that? You muted. You muted, Lady E.
I think it's wonderful. Yes, I do. Thank you. And I think it is absolutely wonderful. I know the kids just love it. Okay. And so do I, Malcolm. Okay.
Did you do costume, Ann?
Oh, definitely. I was so my daughter wanted to be Princess Jasmine, and then that meant I had to be the genie. So I had muscle for a day, and it was amazing. And I had 6-year-olds sort of believing me about them being real, and then I got punched a couple times, but it was fine because I had muscle. Yeah, so we had a good time. It was funny. Yep, I dressed up.
Lady
Fine.
E, what about you? Did you
No.
costume it?
No, no.
Yeah,
But I did. I ended up giving out a whole lot of candy to a whole bunch of kids. My job was everybody was going in different directions. And so I was called on to look after Eden. But when I got to the house, Eden was going trick-or-treating with her mom in the super neighborhood. And I ended up with a chair in the driveway giving out candy.
Hey. All right.
One for you, one for me. One for you.
You hear a lot of kids come through
Oh my goodness sakes.
in Fort Worth.
I gave away so much candy. You know, first it was the little bitty ones and they were so cute. And then the big ones came. It's like, ooh, where is your face? It was fun. I had a good time.
What about you? I know. So I saw your kids, some of my grandkids. They was all, yeah, doing a trick or treat thing, and yeah.
Oh. That's what I said when people knocked on the door. You know, they said trick or treat. I was, oh.
Filmo, what'd you do? Halloween? Anything?
Nah. I didn't do much.
No costume, kids, no
No costume, no
Yep.
kids yet.
regular day.
Chilling.
All right. Okay.
Went to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. That's what he did. I ain't doing nothing. I went to
You
work.
know, it was the way I looked at it, it was my last day of having fun before Tuesday and what could happen.
Yeah.
So I had to get all the fun out because it's going down next week, y'all.
It's
It's
going
really
down.
gonna be either way, it's a huge deal.
Mhm.
And man, if you thought the last one was big, this one might even be bigger.
We'll get into that. We're gonna get into that. We are going to get into all of that. Let's do a little news. Let's do a little news before we start the conversation on the upcoming Tuesday night. So you sent me something, and let me just read what we got so far. All right. The vice president is holding an election watch party at her alma mater, Howard University.
HU!
HU, the Bison. Okay. All right. She's returned to Howard for one of the most pivotal moments of her career. All right. The event is scheduled to take place at the Yard on Howard University's campus. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Well, the big thing we know, she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, and she's a Howard grad. And
That's pretty cool.
To wrap it up. Yeah, wrap it up right at her.
Great moment for Howard and for HBCUs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You remember Paul Pelosi, his attacker, Nancy Pelosi's husband, who hit him upside the head with a heinous crime, really beat him. His attacker was sentenced to life
Wow.
in prison by a San Francisco judge in a Tuesday ruling. The intruder, David DePape, D-E-P-A-P-E, I don't know if I say it correctly, was also convicted on federal charges in June, warning 30 years in prison, which will now be served concurrently with
Wow.
his new charges. All right. 2 years after the attack, Mr. Pelosi still suffers from nerve damage in his left hand, dizziness, and has a metal plate in his head. All right. Okay.
Goodness.
Yeah. Well, go to jail, dude. I mean, the dude outside with him. You deserve it.
Elder, you know, not
Well, he didn't do nothing to you. Okay. All right. Yeah, one more. Now I don't know if there is rumors, Mike, that Russian disinformation videos are targeting the elections. What you think? You think it's possibly true?
Repeat that.
Russian disinformation videos.
They did, yeah.
Are
They did it
targeting-
last time.
Yeah. Okay. U.S. officials believe another 2 fake videos circulating online and publicly identified by the FBI as an attempt to push false election security claims are likely part of a Russia-backed malign influence campaign ahead of Tuesday's presidential election. All right, and blah, blah, blah. What are they doing about it? The FBI in a statement did not say he was behind the videos, but they believe it is possibly Russia and Putin. Yeah, you know, this election is something. I'm gonna date myself, but it wasn't like this in the old days. The old days, really, you ain't got to go back too far when it wasn't like this. Now they got all this stuff going on and
crazy.
all kind of crazy stuff going on. All right. You ready to get into this? Okay. You ready to get into this? You got any more news? Anybody got any more news? Do I have anything? No sports today. 49ers didn't play. I don't know if the Raiders played, but I don't know if it makes a difference. But they're not doing so good.
No more news. My perm is a little wet, so I might have to go off camera for a little bit to just deal with this real quick. But
Funny.
and I noticed, Mike, you have not said a word, so you're extremely silent every time I say something. So.
No, I'm laughing. It's funny.
Oh, he laughed.
Mhm.
I should have told you to do Big Boy. We could have came as Outcast, the whole squad.
I like the way you
That's who
There we go.
That big ass.
300,000.
That, see, thank you. As soon as you said Outcast,
Got another music video.
yeah. All right.
I did want to share that the Ever Forward Club will be having an event Saturday, November 16th that you can sign up for. And it's going to be the Young Men's Conference, which is designed to help young men break through barriers, embrace vulnerability, and unmask their full potential. So you can check them out at the Ever Forward Club, the Million Mask Movement, and yeah, they're doing really good work. So wanted to go ahead and support them, and that event will take place at the California Ballroom in Oakland.
Yeah, good folks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ann.
Branch and Ever Forward. All right, so we're gonna there's us first and the callers 877-955-1061, 877-955-1061. So, Street Soldier family, let's process this whole thing. Okay, we're gonna process this whole thing, and we're gonna be joined soon, I believe, by another member of the KMEL family. Let's just take this whole thing. This election has been astounding. This election season has been astounding. A whole lot of stuff going on. I put some questions together, and I'd love to hear from as many callers as we can as we wrap this thing up, because it's over Tuesday.
Yeah.
By the time we are on next Sunday, we will have a new president of the United States. Either the first woman president in the history of this republic, or that's all I'm gonna say. It's or. It'd be back a second time. And it is incredibly, everything I read is incredibly close. Every poll says it's close. And everything I read, and I think we all understand, it depends on the swing states. Lady E, I'm sure we will have a watch party with our young people. They're there Tuesday night, and like the hardest thing is going to be explaining the electoral college to them. They know about it, but they don't really know what it entails, right? And the first question we always get is, well, how come the one with the most votes doesn't win, right? And so we're gonna have to break that down, Lady E. I'm sure we'll have a lesson beforehand and go through, well, you don't really vote for president, you vote for state electors. And they said, what's a state elector? And why we got to do that, and so on. So, but then that's what is going to determine who becomes the president. And that's the way it's been set up from the beginning. From the beginning. You like the electoral college, Mike?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It is.
I think the popular vote should be the winner of an election.
It's good enough for senators and governors and representatives and the high school student council. You name it. It's the only office in America where the one who gets the most votes isn't necessarily the winner. And there have been times, and they have a recent history of this, even where someone has gotten the popular vote and won the popular vote and not won the electoral college. I think that's what happened to Trump actually in 2016. But I don't like it. I think it's an anachronism. There are all kinds of reasons that people say it should not be changed, but I don't like it.
Hey, Doc, you just said a big word. I don't know. What was that word again, Doc?
Anachronism.
Thank you.
Lady E, you want to do that for me?
Oh no, you said the word by all means.
I mean, I can kind of just guess.
All you, Dr. Marshall.
It's a context thing. Well, it's like it's an old thing that should be eliminated. Okay, we just do it because we've done it.
I don't know how to spell it.
A.
Okay.
Yeah,
You got to go that far.
Because we've done it before. It's always been this way. That's kind of and that's I don't like it. But look, let's get into this campaign. I got got a few questions, and here's one I want to know. Oh, I need my music. I can't hear my music. I can't hear my music.
We can't hear it, so.
I can't hear. I gotta hear my music, my beats.
Right
Little
there.
Outcast would be nice, of course.
Put up a little higher so I can hit my ears. Okay, it's better. All right.
You could turn it up on below you.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go, brother.
Thank you. No, don't do no more. No,
You turn it up.
No,
brother.
put it back. Wait. Okay. All right. But then it's louder in my ears. Okay. Look, where do I want to begin here? The poll's still. All right, Lady, I'm gonna let you start. Okay. Oh, no. Let me do this.
No, let Lady E start.
No, well, I haven't given the questions yet. Okay. Did you watch the Black Man Summit on BET?
I wanted to, but I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it.
I
Anybody
see some
watch
clips.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I saw clips.
Okay,
I don't
but
like
you didn't
clips,
watch the
so I'm
whole
starting
thing.
not to like clips because you lose the context of what people are talking about on the whole overall scale of things.
So specifically, a lot of brothers got together and had the discussion about, the campaign, the election, and there's been a lot of talk about, where Black men stand in this election. And it was pretty informative. And they had a lot of celebrities. I mean, they had what was it?
They had a lot of celebrities.
A lot of celebrities. Well, and they had a lot of regular folk. Who were some of the people on there? God, my mind is a mess up. D.L. Hughley was the host.
DL was there. Yeah.
D.L. was the host. Ben Crump, the attorney, was there. Somebody who I've seen in many movies, but didn't know how politically active he was Michael Ealy. You know
Oh,
Michael?
yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Michael Ealy. He's been in a lot of movies.
Intelligent brother.
Very intelligent brother. And they really had, so let me just say what they said. Michael Ealy, let's see, who else was there? There are a lot of black male celebrities who were for Kamala.
Jermaine Dupri.
Yep, Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a lot of black male celebrities, including them, who were not there. Jeff Johnson, Don Cheadle, Steph Curry, Fat Joe, Samuel L. Jackson, Magic Johnson, Spike Lee, John Legend, Delroy Lindo, Tyler Perry,
Hey,
Wendell
Delroy.
Pierce. They all been out on the stump for Kamala Harris. And basically, one of the things they said was the first thing they dealt with was this whole thing about her record, right? And that's been a question for a lot of black men, apparently. They actually went out in cities and put the microphone out and asked people in Atlanta and asked people and so on and so forth. And they said, man, well, I ain't feeling her because she put all these brothers in jail.
Yeah.
Dope charges.
Yeah. That's big in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got pushed a lot about
Yeah.
her unfairly, in my opinion, but okay.
Yeah. Well, DL said that's what I thought, and that I felt that way. And then he met her and she said, do the research. That it been said that she put a whole bunch of brothers in jail on marijuana charges, right? So DL did the research and he found out it was 45.
Yeah.
45. 45. So this misinformation that had gotten out about her about putting all these brothers in jail was not correct. And DL had to apologize, and he told her, everybody do your own research. One of Malcolm X's famous lines is find out for yourself. All right, so right then and there, I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn something. And they went to those. Now, admittedly, it was a pro-Harris group, right? But they went through, I mean, that's what it ended up being. They all every one of them supported Kamala Harris. But here's an interesting line. They said that Vice President Harris can improve their lives and the lives of their mothers, wives, sisters, and daughters if they would just get off the couch and vote. There was a quote that, what is it like to be living in this body as a black man? And they know the struggle. They and their sons got to see themselves in the first black male president. Vote for the black woman in the race so your daughters can see themselves in her. Because, she doesn't talk much about her either her gender or her race. She's-
Yeah, because she can't.
yeah, well, yeah, but you know, she could say I'm gonna be the first this, I'm gonna first that. She's downplayed that the whole time. But for these brothers, they were saying, look, man, for me, the women in my family, my daughters, my mother, my sisters, the women in my life, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. They explicitly said that, and I thought that was something. Okay, you should watch that if you can. You got 2 days. You can get on YouTube. The black male. What is it? What did I say? Black male.
BET's Black Man Summit.
Yeah, BET's Black Man Summit. Okay. What's at stake for you in this election? We can go around the room. What's at stake for you? What's at stake for you? Each of us. We're gonna have an in-house discussion and callers. 877-955-1061. I'd like to know what's at stake for you. It can be one or a couple of things as we wind down toward Tuesday and you vote. And please vote. What's at stake for you? And we're going to start with Ann. What's
All
at
right.
stake for you?
Well,
Everybody
one,
listen
I'm
to
very
this.
excited that last week's, as we were talking about this, I was really upset that my ballot didn't arrive, and so I was able to go ahead and email the elections office, and they sent it right away. So now I am confident that my vote will be counted, but I also have the books to help me understand some of the issues that are going on locally and in the state of California too. Yeah, I'm really nervous, I guess, about this election. I think there's a lot that's at stake when it comes to being a woman, being a mother, and then thinking of other young women and the choices that they will either have or be able to have and make. And I just I'm like super fearful. It's really depressing. It's really depressing to know and to understand what's at stake. Because I think about and I listen to the stories of the people who had to deal with abortions, you know, and like in the, I mean, really, when you're talking about like the medical part of an abortion, it doesn't always, um, like it, like when you're pregnant, sometimes you miscarry and it's not your fault. It's just, you know, the pregnancy wasn't viable and that's nature's way of, you know, taking care of itself and the mother. But then like when these mothers aren't getting the care that they need, or you start learning about, these cameras, you know, that are following people and recording license plate numbers and things like that. Not just in the states that are, you know, don't do abortion anymore. The laws are all funky, but the fact that we have some of those cameras here in California near the Planned Parenthood. So I'm really scared of that kind of those kinds of freedoms for people.
So reproductive rights is a big thing that's at stake for you. All right, we got a call 877-955-1061. 2 days away.
Hey,
What is
hello?
at stake for you? Hi, thank you for calling. What's at stake for you in this
Hi.
election?
My name is Felipa.
Tell me what's at stake for you.
No, my boyfriend wanted me to call you guys. So I'll start dialing ASAP. Yeah.
Okay. Is he gonna tell us?
Cause
what's at
we
stake?
was sitting here listening to the music,
Can hear you, but you gotta
and we
answer.
heard you talking the whole time.
Yeah. So you gotta answer the question. We talk about the election coming up on Tuesday, and we're asking people what's at stake for them.
You heard him? Huh? The election coming up. About voting.
I don't get this election
You don't get it.
because what I don't get is
Okay.
when we vote,
Mhm.
I actually it really don't mean nothing because I really feel like it don't mean nothing when we vote. It don't mean nothing
Why?
Why you say that?
because
What?
the reason why
Uh-huh.
I'm saying this is because like shit like
Oh, you can't curse,
we
bro. We're on the air. Don't do that, my man. He going.
I got it.
All right. Yeah. Y'all know the rules. All right. All the rules. But I would really like to talk to him because I want to know. I've heard that from people that your
Yeah.
vote doesn't really mean anything, but it does. It does. So if you want to call back and not use any language like that, do so, because I really want to find out why you think your vote doesn't count. 877-955-1061. What's at stake for you in this election? I got a couple other questions I want to throw at you. For Ann, it is reproductive rights. All right, Phil Moore, what's at stake for you?
What's at stake?
Yeah, what's at stake?
I don't know if anything's at stake,
Okay.
so to speak, but
Okay.
things that I care about
All right.
are economic growth, development,
Okay.
the school systems. I think there needs to be a revamp of the education system in America. Reparations. Things of that more so yeah, stuff like that. More so economics and job growth and giving entrepreneurs a chance.
What do you think she has put forth? The vice president put forth
Both
a
people
plan.
both of them have.
Well, okay, I know hers. What's his? I really don't know.
I'm just saying.
All I
they
hear
both
is
have
Harris.
put out.
I have not heard anything other
They
than
both
Harris.
they both put out plans. The one thing that's encouraging for me is that black men are at a focus.
Yeah.
Within this election, I don't know if it's because the last couple of days they're trying to get all the votes they can get.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
whoever wins, in some ways, black men have to take advantage of the opportunity that will be out there. And then we have to hold them accountable as well. We got a lot of calls coming.
We do.
Right now.
Let's take it.
Sir.
All right, come on. Hi, you're on the air. Street Soldiers, 2 days before the election. What's at stake for you in election 2020? Go right ahead.
I was wondering, have you guys heard of The Simpsons predicting the future?
Yes. I have heard.
And apparently Lisa Simpson became president and she was dressed just like Kamala.
I haven't heard of that, but
it's
big on the internet. It's all over the internet.
Yeah.
YouTube. Mike, go ahead. Mike, tell
it's big on the internet. Say that the Simpsons have predicted some things in the future that has actually come to pass.
You mean a coincidence?
Well, they said
it's
Donald Trump
prediction,
and stuff.
They
had a Donald Trump character like 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty interesting. We got another caller though.
Okay. All right.
I'll take Lisa. I'll take her over Donald if we have to. That's fine.
How are you? What's at stake for you in this election? It's been a long, arduous build-up.
Well,
Tuesday.
I was on the phone with y'all, and my boyfriend disagreed with voting because he feel like they don't give a fuck about black people.
Oh, come on now. I mean, how you gonna call back and do the same thing?
Trying to kill us.
Y'all must have y'all household must be expletive filled. I mean, all right, 877-955. Yeah, but I told her tone the language down. 877-955-1069. Clean language, please. Plain language. What's at stake for you? And I got a couple other questions I'm going to ask you also. Let's go to the soul. Oh, we got another call. All right, go, guys, go. What's at stake for you? Hi. You're there. You can talk. Turn the radio down and you can speak. What's at stake for you in this election?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the first real answer since no one else is really giving an answer.
Yeah.
For me, I think it'll be kind of like cultural growth or society growth, because I feel like everyone's ignoring the fact that when Donald Trump was first elected, things were insane. I feel like we were downhill instead of progressing, and I feel like if he gets elected again, it's going to go further downhill. With just everyone being one in society.
Let me follow up on this. What do you is in such a close election, and that's all the polls are saying that. Not that I'm a poll guy. What do you think is going to be a difference maker?
Since everything's electoral college, it's about getting those swing states.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. Okay. You got your own prediction or a feeling? He's gone. Oh,
We got a lot of callers.
all right.
In and out, in and out. You don't know. I'm just letting you know. So we got a new caller right now. Caller, where you at? What's your name?
Go right ahead. I'm taking notes.
I'm in Vallejo, California. My name is Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.
I heard you guys speaking about the upcoming election. I don't know the current question.
Well, the
I do
question I
know
was asking,
Washington.
what's at stake for you in this election? But go ahead. You can.
Okay, personally, I'll dive into that question. Just rights, you know. So from both sides, I'm hearing different things. What I will say on the Republican side, Donald Trump's side, that he said immunity for police officers. We are disproportionately, murdered by police officers. And when I say we, I mean black men.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, like, if it's already it's open season now, you know what I'm saying? There are already a lot of times where they get prosecuted, don't get prosecuted, but I think the fact that they don't have immunity maybe controls them at times. The body cameras and things like that. But if someone knows, regardless, I can get away with this, and we don't truly know how they feel about us inside, that's just a little scary thing on the Republican side. So I'm worried about something like that.
Yeah. Oh,
on the other side, I'm looking. Go ahead, Doctor.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, and on the other side, I look at it like, okay, she has been in an executive position. Although she wasn't the president, she was vice president for the past 4 years. And what I've been seeing a lot of things like aid, right? So when I go to work with taxpayer citizen and things like that, a lot of our tax dollars are sent, out of the country or given to people who are illegally even immigrated in here and things like that. So it's just like, man, I don't really know, like, even, and I'm into politics, I just really don't know what's the worst at this point. And I know everything they're saying isn't true anyway. Like, I know people they're campaigning, so they're saying things they probably don't mean to put in power anyway. But just based off things like this, I would have to lean towards, the safety of black men. But at the same time, I don't know what's really real, right? You know what I'm saying? Because they are campaigning. So right at this point, they'll say a lot of things. I heard Kamala Harris say that there's no active soldiers anywhere in the world. Wow, there's active soldiers watching her say this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, it's this. So it's our rights, I would say. It's the rights, man. They're just the rights.
I got a question for you, and this surprised me. I personally thought that January 6th was going to be a deal breaker for everybody. Does that make a difference in your thinking? Because everybody knows I'm an ABT guy, right? I mean,
I mean, to be honest, I feel like it's like pick your poison. I don't think anyone is who I want to represent me as a president right now.
Okay.
But I would have to lean towards Kamala over Trump as of now. But by Tuesday, who knows? The more I dive into it, because I feel like they both, neither one of them actually are fit for the job currently to help my situation. You know what I'm saying? And I heard what the other brother was saying, which our vote doesn't matter. Now, in California, that may be true.
Right. I was going to actually say that.
Yeah.
In California, it's kind of true. Kamala going to win.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Kamala gonna win anyway, so he's right about that. If you want Oakland, you want to in the Bay Area, California been blue for the longest, right? You know what I'm saying? Last red fight Reagan or somebody. So it's like, we're gonna go Democrat. So
well, this is one of the reasons I want the electoral college to be changed to popular vote. And
Doc, that's only one thing on the ballot.
Yeah.
There's a lot more on the ballot.
There's a lot more on the ballot. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Do me a favor, bro. I really appreciate your call and your intelligence. Listen, watch the Black Man Summit on BET. You can get it on YouTube. Just watch that. Put that in your blender before Tuesday if you can. Thank you very much for your call. Love it. 877-955-1061. You are on. What's at stake for you in this election? Yes, go right ahead.
So what I worry about is not just our local community and ourselves, but part of it, or a big part of it, is the world standing as far as the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And, Trump is known to be friends with, dictators like Putin and Kim Jong-un, and the path
Orban and all of them. Yeah.
And it's so risky in that, literally the United States they call us the world police, but in essence, it's kind of needed, right? We protect the shipping lanes of the world economy. We, fortunately or unfortunately, try to keep things orderly and in line. And that, if it breaks down, the risks are insane and beyond the scope of like anything that people are currently thinking about. It just affects everyone so much. You have BRICS coming up, trying to challenge the G7 and the U.S. hegemony and stuff. And things can be good and bad with that, but the other side being, dictatorial regimes, things go south really quick, and especially with the whole thing in the Middle East, it's just the repercussions are just huge.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it could be a tinderbox. We got two wars, big wars going on. So, they're gonna have to be dealt with in some way. What do you think is is a difference maker for you, one way or the other? I mean, you gone? Okay,
Got another
all
call.
right, we got another call. All right. You are on. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for
I
calling.
want to say my biggest issue is the safety of my two black sons. I don't think any black man living should still be saying anything about Trump when he is going to give free rein for the police to kill you. I worry every day my sons walk out the door if they come in contact with the police right now. And if they give them immunity, what would stop them? What would stop them from killing them? Nothing. And to answer the other question is why a lot of people say it doesn't mean anything, is because you can vote and the votes go off of the college electoral votes, which doesn't make any sense, because it's basically saying your vote don't count because they're going to go off of whatever the college electoral votes are. Yeah. So that's why a lot of people say that it doesn't mean anything when they vote.
Yeah, except that I don't take for granted that a certain state is going to go a certain way. I understand what they're saying. Traditionally, for example, California is going Democratic, it's going blue. But if enough people say it's going that way and they don't vote, then they ain't going to go that way. So, and then, just for me, I'm going to vote just because my ancestors died for the right to vote. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to vote also.
Yeah.
But this is why a lot of people say they vote doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Because they're not going off of the votes from
the popular vote.
How many votes the people voted. They're going off of the college electoral vote.
Got it. Thank you so much. Love it. Love you. Love it. Thank you. 877-955-1061. What's at stake for you in 2 days?
First, I just want to say congratulations to you guys. You guys doing a good job. I'm surprised, I hear KMEL since 1988, if I'm not mistaken.
We try.
And the people need to go to vote. People need to go to vote, and that's it. Do not make any excuses not to vote. Just go and vote and choose for the person that you like it or not. At this point, we cannot vote for a crazy guy like Donald Trump, He has no plan at all. He has nothing than a profit for himself. He just don't want to be in jail. Rape a woman and no one say anything. To me, that's not a fair thing. So he needs to go to jail, and that's it. People, go and vote, and that's it. Period.
Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, Luis. 877-955-1061. The calls are rolling in. Oh my God. Go right ahead. You're on Street Soldiers. What's at stake for you in 2 days?
Hey, for me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Go right ahead.
Oh. Hey, thank you, brother, for putting me on. I'm a Mexican-American man from San Jose, California.
Yes, sir.
And I'm listening to the station, and I don't really like how everybody is kind of like not as informed of the situation that's actually going on, It's kind of crazy that Kamala Harris, she is not really equipped to be the actual president, because she hasn't done anything successful as the vice president right now in office.
She's already vice president, though. I just have to say that she is vice president.
No. What I'm saying is she's not gonna make any more progress being the actual president, you know?
Well,
How
Like,
so?
I
How
disagree.
so?
She's
Yeah, how so?
she's got a lot of, from what I've watched, she's got a lot of platform. She's got a lot
so
of ideas. She says the things she wants to do. But you're saying because she didn't do these things when she was a vice president, to you means she's not going to do them or isn't capable of doing it as president?
yeah, yeah, because I mean, okay. So if you look at Donald Trump's history, I'm not like 100% pro Trump because it's always, you know, like bait and switch, you know? But a lot of the things that everybody is saying about Donald Trump, like having like relationships with like these other countries like Putin and
Yeah.
Korea and stuff like that, it's like we were not in war when he was actually in office, you know, but the media was trying to destroy him, you know?
I
Like
don't know
they were
that.
trying to say like, oh, so like he was not disturbing the peace or anything like that in these other foreign countries. And it's like with Biden's presidency, it's like the world has never been more shooken based on like who's sitting in the presidency, you know? Like Biden is not respected and Kamala Harris, she's not really the voice of America right now. Like I'm not trying to get anyone upset or anything like that because
Nah,
I
you're
mean,
not making me mad.
yeah.
No. What?
Because my mom is like, hey, your vote by mail ballot came in, and if you don't want Donald Trump to be president, you better send this in. But I'm like, look at like America, there was so much stuff going on when Donald Trump was in office because the media was kind of just blasting him, you know.
Nah, he was
But at the
blasting
same time,
himself though. Like the media
I'm,
was just saying what he was doing. Like they weren't
but
like these are not
no,
things that
no, for
it's not like they're lying on Trump. Trump did these and
no,
said
for sure,
things. Yeah, for sure.
for sure,
So it's not like
for sure.
they're like making up falsehoods about Trump. He actually said some
Nah,
sick stuff, and he, you know, he was incompetent in some ways as a president.
so
Well,
look at
you know,
like Kamala Harris was like, look at the younger voters. They're stupid, you know, like that's on everyone's social media. They could see that, you know. But it's like the media was looking at Trump as like, oh, this is a great opportunity for us to like continuously have a news cycle, you know? So they're like, yeah, this so okay.
Gotcha.
Does anybody truly know who Kamala Harris is? Because everyone knows that Donald Trump does say some wild stuff, you know?
Well,
But it's like,
let me just say, I know her personally. Okay. I know her. So if you want to ask, does anybody know? I know, right? Because I've worked with her before, right? And to me, she's amazing. She's outstanding. She's a leader, everything. She had to put this campaign together in what, 70 days. It's amazing what she's done. I don't think people have even given her close to credit for what she's pulled off. And remember, Donald Trump would head to head with her in the debate. Ain't got and ran from her. He don't have
but
nothing to do with her. So,
but at the same time, so okay, Kamala Harris was a district attorney for
Yeah.
California, right?
yeah.
San Francisco.
He is responsible for a lot of people were imprisoned longer than they should have been because of her. And it's like I've got a brother-in-law who was released early because he was a nonviolent offender when Trump was in office, you know? So it's
Well,
like I
Okay, then let me
I
no
don't
only
really
here's what we're gonna do. Just do the research, right? Because there was this thing about her putting all these black men when she was a DA. That's not true. It turned out to be 45, at least that's what some people just do the research. Just do the research. That's all I'm asking. And you can make an informed decision as best you can, right? Because
Honey.
okay, thanks for the call and thanks for putting yourself out there and telling us what you think. 877-955-1061. What's at stake for you in this election? You're on. You're on?
Am I on?
You are on. Yes.
Wow, man, that young man is very disinformed. Very, very disinformed. I as well work with Kamala when she was a district attorney for San Francisco. She's the one who started the FOTEP program, which is female-only offender program, where women were being put in prison because they were using drugs. So she started a program where they were getting treatment straight from prison. They were given jobs, they were given housing, and it turned their lives around. You know what I mean? And then you got to look at, I don't believe that everybody's looking at the real picture. It's not really Trump we're worried about. You got to look at the history of the United States as well as the history of the world, when you have countries that have been in power for over 200 years. And it's been 200 years, 250 years almost, to where, you know, we're getting to that mark. And we have other countries that are trying to destroy us. So they're trying to destroy us through us fighting each other. That's what they mean by the enemy within.
Yeah.
Because if there's a civil war, then everybody's fighting each other while all our adversaries, the ones that have been wanting to get us, they have a chance to attack us at that time. You know what I mean? Because we're fighting against each other.
And
not thinking about democracy.
yeah,
What's that?
well, I was going to add, and he has said that he's going to get the National Guard, and you know he's going to get. I figured he's going to come after me because I'm going to talk about it like a dog. Okay, because you know.
Man, and what's crazy about it is I'm a black man. You know what I mean? I'm a black man that had changed his life around. I've been through the streets, but then again, I'm in politics too.
Yeah.
I'm in my community. I do thug therapy with Fab.
Yeah.
I do a boys program. This is what we're supposed to be doing as Americans, making our lives better, making the people around us lives better. I run into youth. I help them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't have to be out here blipping and stealing, man. Let me help you do it another way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. We got a men's program where we were taking homeless men off the street, teaching them training and jobs and things like that. You know what I mean? America's a great country, and we got to keep it great. That's why you have to let your vote count. Whether you want to go out there, whether you think your vote is not going to count or not, don't take that chance that it's not.
Look, and let me just add one more thing about what Kamala did when she was there. She ran the Back on Track program, where first offenders got to get their record expunged. They had a whole graduation ceremony. I know I was part of that. So this narrative, that she wasn't doing all this and was just putting people in jail isn't true. Those of us that know got to clarify, man. Thank you so much for your call. Thanks, vote everybody. Look, we're going to keep this conversation going. We're going to join Street Soldiers on YouTube Live. Stay Alive and Free for the second hour. All right. And you can visit us at stayaliveandfree.org for our podcasts and more. Stay Alive and Free. Join us in the second hour. YouTube Live, Stay Alive and Free. And vote. And vote. And vote. All right, we'll be back. Hour number two, alive and free. Street Soldiers Radio. What a first hour. The phones were lit. There still are. I hope they moved over with us and joined us on YouTube at Stay Alive and Free for the second hour. We are going to keep the conversation going, asking the questions, and we are joined by some, what you call them, and generation, was it Z, folks? Is that the generation? I don't know. You know, I don't know these alphabet numbers. I think this is Generation Z. Some wonderful students from the University of San Francisco are going to join us as we continue this discussion. Let me see if I got it right, and it does say Generation Z. Generation Z. So let me get them to come on in. Two of them I know, one I have not yet met. Justin Boyle. There is Carl Levy, both of whom I know, and this is Journey. Journey, I don't know. Were you here before? I think you were. No, okay. Welcome to three of you. Wow. I have to take a deep breath because those calls were fast and furious, and you know, I really appreciate it. I really, really appreciate them, and I also appreciate you. Look, here's what we're doing, and you know, we'll go at this for a minute, and then we'll recess and get ready to vote on Tuesday. We're taking a hard look at what's at stake for folks at this election, and we're going to wrap it up with you, the youth. And I used to be a youth a long time ago. The young people here, Justin, Carl, and Journey. I think you're all in Generation Z. Is that correct? All right. You guys can unmute. You don't have to, like, you know, you can all unmute now.
Yeah. Yep, Gen Z.
There we go. I'm going to ask you
Yeah, we're in Gen Z.
So, Justin, is this your first presidential election?
Yep, first presidential election.
Right. Journey, this is yours also?
Yes, yes.
And Carl, I think you might be.
Yep, this will be my second presidential election. I voted in the last one in 2020.
Yeah, so we wanted to, you're a big part of the courted electorate, you know, they're gonna get that youth vote out. And first of all, each of you introduce yourself. Carl and Justin, you've been on here before, but we get a different audience all the time. So go ahead, Justin, introduce yourself. And
Yep. How y'all doing, y'all? My name is Justin Boyle. Third year business analytics major, minor rooted African American studies at the University of San Francisco, originally from St. Louis, Missouri. And I also do a podcast called Truth to Power on YouTube that y'all can check out. I'll also be speaking my mind similar to what I hope to be doing tonight. So nice to be on.
Carl?
Then my name is Carl Levy III. I'm fourth year here at the University of San Francisco. I have a marketing major and minor in legal studies. Also have a YouTube channel with Carl Smiles. I make different relatable videos that people can enjoy and have a good time, smile with. But definitely excited to be a part of today's show. So thank you for having me.
And Journey, I like that name.
Thank you, thank you. Hi, I'm Journey Artist. I'm a third-year psychology major at USF, and I have a pre-law minor. First presidential election, and I have a business on Instagram called On Your Journey that all of y'all can go check out. Also, thank you for having me on the show as well.
This campaign has been something. I mean, when people, I think, write about this, they're going to be like, this is unlike any other. You know, the Democratic candidate dropped out and a new one, a woman, a Black woman, a woman of color, replaced him and has like, what, 2.5 months, 70, maybe 80 days to put a campaign together. And as we move into the last 2 days, as we get to Tuesday, when November 1st, everybody says it's deadlocked. It's deadlocked. Each has made their case. And this is and I will say this is a unique election. Of course, everybody says every election, presidential election, but this is unique. This is the first time you have had a woman of color running for the presidency and a convicted felon.
Wow.
That's never happened.
Wow.
You've had a woman before in Hillary Clinton. You've never had a convicted felon. So just on that one thing, it is different than any other election in history. So let me start with the question that I've asked everybody during that first hour is, what's at stake for you? What's at stake for you in this election? And then I got a whole bunch of other things I want to bring in. And Lady E, you are going to be part of the discussion this hour because I couldn't get to you last time because the callers took up all the time. So Carl, what's at stake for you in this election?
I would say definitely for me, what's at stake with this election is definitely personal rights, definitely having a freedom of speech. A lot of that, and especially with the policies that have been brought up, have been in question. And definitely, I'll say with this election, especially going back home, because I'm from Texas, definitely this election has a lot of heavy standing, especially in my state, going back and forth. So definitely, that's been on my mind, especially when I voted on presidency, and especially in my local state as well. Like what policies helped out a young Black man, especially going to college and looking for higher education going forward with that. So I'll say that's what's been on my mind during this presidential election, especially voting.
Justin, what's at stake for you?
Yeah, so I know that the whole topic, is presidential election, but as far as my ballot, I'm most concerned about what's happening in my local elections and things that's on our ballots. Personally, as a St. Louisan, we got the abortion ban on the ballot. We got legalizing sports betting for like funding public education in general. I'm a St. Louis public school alumni. Our district got like a deficit right now, so that's an important thing. Thinking about getting money for the youth. We don't have a Department of Public Transportation in St. Louis either. So like we voting on creating one of those too. So as far as like when I got that ballot in my mail, I was looking to vote on that. I was researching all that. Personally, I think one thing that I may say is representative of my generation from being on here is that we can kind of see through a lot of the two-sidedness of politics right now and just kind of it being maybe like two different sides of the same coin, but we kind of looking out to some other alternative. So I'm not really too interested on that, that main ticket, as people say. I really do feel like it's more like a spectacle, but it is like real stuff on my ballot. So that's what's at stake, as far as that goes. But
thank you. Journey, what is at stake for you in this campaign?
I think this campaign has a whole lot at stake. Something that immediately comes to mind for me is women's rights, autonomy rights, freedom to choose what you do and don't do with your own body. That's something that's definitely been heavily on my mind. Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't crafted too deep of a response, but that was something that was really important to me.
Well, we want to, as Lady Estelle would say, what comes to your mind. Just speak what comes to your mind first. That's the way we like to get it, the freedom to choose. Lady, I'm going to come to you. That's right, because I didn't get you the first hour. Same question. What's at stake for you?
It's interesting that's a interesting question for me, because at this time in my life, there's so many things that I have already lived through. So I think about the young people. I think about what things that they are going to be exposed to or have to deal with so much that is at stake, depending on the outcome. So much can be lost. Oh my goodness. Just rolling back to a time that we have already fought and died for. Those things that we have struggled to see and have and do, that we're still struggling to see and have and do. All of that's in question. And then the questions that
we don't have answers for. But yet, what we know is there is one that either will move us forward or we'll be in place. And then there is another that'll roll us back and we'll lose everything that's already been given and received. And so there is so much at stake. Everything is at stake. And for me, it's almost like the soul of this nation that this nation has tried to grasp. We've been working on that. And now here we are. Oh my goodness, when have we ever had a felon on the docket?
We haven't.
When have we ever, and he hasn't been reformed. Let me just say, he hasn't made any progress. He is just live, well, kicking like, and that is who this country may be able to. Are you serious right now? There's so much at stake. I can't even begin to process that. But that's a journey that I really don't want to take. And journey, that's a lovely name. But that's definitely a journey that I don't think anybody at this time, 2024, should have to take or see. You know who he is. You know what,
Thank you, Lee. Thank you. And I'm doing, look, we're all in this together, literally and figuratively, not figuratively, we're all in family, right? So I want to hear all the voices. And similar a question, and I guess this is more about the presidential election, and you can jump in here too. What has surprised you about this particular this campaign? Anything surprised you? I know a couple of things that surprised me, but and I think I'll lead off by saying what has surprised me, and I want you, you can respond in your own way. What surprised me is the racism and sexism in this campaign. I just did not, I've been through a lot of campaigns, a lot of them. I ain't gonna tell you how many, but I openly, just like, there's what is under the radar and above, or overt and covert. Just open the racism and the sexism that has, like, it's like, I didn't even, you even if people thought like this, it's just every moment, every day, that's stupid as this is this, so on and so forth. That and didn't catch me off guard, but it did surprise me, which says something to me. So that's one of the things that surprised me. I got a couple of other things that has surprised me. Anything that has surprised Justin or Journey or Carl has surprised
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I was thinking definitely with the racism and the sexism. I literally remember like my jaw dropping when he said that stuff about them people eating the pets. Like that literally made my jaw drop. Like I couldn't believe it. But then, yeah, I think it's just like we got so much media now, so many like clips, so much like, short form content with, everything that's happening that we just naturally seeing a lot more of it too. But that definitely did stick out, Dr. Marshall. But I'll also say like the structure of just like how this whole thing went down. Especially hearing you like break down how like the candidates kind of switched. And I know it kind of seems like it's crazy and like the timeline, but in the grand scheme that like Kamala Harris's whole job has been, literally being prepared to be stepping up to be the president in the event that, our president, who was a little bit older, passes. Like I feel like she had a lot of the campaign in the back pocket. I think it was just interesting how she was able to display that because we never seen it before. So I thought it was just like an interesting moment in history. But I just thought like how it kind of played up, and then it was like, oh, they're talking about Joe Biden, the old man, and now they can kind of flip it and say like, oh, now Trump, the old man, and how like they kind of like let him fight and like like make both of them look bad so she can slide in there. I just thought like they was really strategic for this one. So I thought like the structure of it wasn't just white man against white man the whole time. So It's unique.
And that's unprecedented. That's never happened before, where a candidate dropped out and somebody, I don't remember that. And I think I studied a little. Carl, anything, what surprised you about this particular presidential campaign?
I would say definitely what surprised me was the quality of which the Democrats were able to get their pretty much their message across and the campaign that they were running, especially on such short notice. Definitely say, been talking with a lot of people, like this is probably the best campaign that they have seen with this, and definitely I want to give Kamala and her team their due diligence with that, because that has been wonderful. Just looking at that and seeing her across the different states right there. So definitely, I would say that's been very surprising to me to see the quality of the campaign that she's been running.
And especially since this is I don't know, I like this question because, like I said, I've seen a lot of presidential elections. Carl, this is your second. Justin and Journey, this is your first, and you might be going like, wow, does this happen all the time like this? I don't know, but Journey, what's that surprised you about this campaign?
Huh. I gotta agree with Carl. The way that Kamala's running her campaign has definitely stood out to me. The way that she definitely has a pull for younger voters, younger audiences, which I think is so important because that turnout rate could really shake the election one way or the other. So I think the way that she's going about getting young voters interested in voting in politics is super monumental, super important, because it's not something we see too often.
And Lady E, you get the same. What has surprised you?
I just have, I'm sorry. I just have this question that just pops in my head with the young people who are voting for the first time. And so that means 18, 19 years old, 20. Is that right? Am I in the ballpark with the age? And imagining a woman of color in this as a candidate for president. I mean, we haven't even talked about what that feels like to you to see that, to be, I mean, what does that really mean for you, to you, to see that? But what surprised me, if I could just, I mean, there's no question what Kamala was gonna do. All right. It's about business, and it's about being clear. It's about organization, planning, and doing what you got to do to make sure people understand that you are ready for this role. And she's done that. The thing that surprised me is that I can't believe Donald Trump is up there again, okay? And he hasn't changed a bit. He's still an idiot.
Yeah. Lady E, I wish you had been, remember in 2016 when he ran for the first time? And
I was hysterical.
You nailed, you were in the studio and you started laughing. And when she starts laughing, she ain't got nothing on Kamala laughing. She gets one of them laughing fits and she just can't stop. And she called, what you call that? She said, Donald Trump. He said, he's a pimp. That's what she said.
Exactly what she said.
He gonna pimp America, right? I mean, Lady, I will never forget that, boy. And that was before you let him in. I think she said, and he gonna sell us to Putin. And it's before we knew anything about his preference for dictators or anything like that. Lady E, you were, as far as I'm concerned, prophetic, but you are.
Well, if anybody knows, what did I see on? I just happened to be up, and Stephen Colbert came on, and he said, have you ever seen a candidate for presidency selling things? And he showed commercial after, Donald Trump is selling, you pick up your Donald Trump cups. You got a MAGA hat, anything to get money out of. And then the country has to pay him. And then we pay for his security. Don't get me started.
Thank you.
And he's a billionaire. Really? Really? Or is that another thing, another one of his great stories that he tells? That's,
imagine that we're sitting around the Thanksgiving table and we're all having this conversation with the family, because that's exactly what we're doing. Justin, Journey, Carl, and Lady E.
I would say for like as far as like it being a woman of color on the ballot, I don't know. I think with a lot of the social progress, I want to also see from like the older perspective, like what how much rapid social progress you think has happened since 2008. Because I think with some of my first memories is like seeing Obama be elected. So like before I gained like sentience, I don't know life without a black president. So like for me, it's not really that crazy. So I just wonder like how much progression have you seen in these past like however many years it's been since 2008. And then I would say if y'all thought that it was relative to see that we would go from like just a man to a woman, like if y'all think that's a realistic amount of time, I would say it's probably pretty realistic because I can feel the rapid change though. Like stuff is different from when I was a little kid growing up and how we talk about people and stuff like that. So like equality and inclusion and like stuff like that. So I definitely do think that it's not that surprising coming up in the era that I did.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that.
Justin, on the flip side, I don't say flip side, another thought is a lot of people say that Trump's ascendance and election was a pushback on a black president.
It definitely was. And it's a bunch of, and I was talking about this in my African American literature class earlier this year. Every time you see black people get something in this country, you're going to get pushed back with something. Like you look at 1865, Reconstruction, you get the lynching epidemic. You know what I'm saying? You get civil rights movement, you get crack. You get Obama, you get Donald Trump. Like we in a similar situation all the time in this country. They just change up the variables and the people who up there. But like, you know what I'm saying? They always gonna give us the same relative equation. I will
You
say
get
that.
Joe Johnson, the
Yeah.
greatest boxer in the world, and then you get the Great White Hope. Down through this, like, no, you cannot be a person of color without, we've got to find somebody to combat it. It's just
Yeah.
not.
Everything Justin said. Yes.
I think we are. I think
Yeah.
one thing about us being black people in this country is that the country always find a way for us to be like a counter narrative for them. Like they always got to combat something that we do. But I think this is gonna be interesting though with us having a black woman. I think us learning from like Obama and all this, because I think a thing that might be different is like, well, me saying that like I don't have no memories of no other president. Oh no white man president. Kamala Harris had a different standard for what she has to do for black people. You know what I'm saying? She can't just be black and the president no more. You know what I mean? Like we saw Obama kind of, not do as much as we thought, he would do for black people. But I think like as far as that being like a standard or something that we can genuinely have pride in outside of us just being like Americans, as far as us being like a black American community, we're gonna need some results for like one of our own, leading the country. That's just my
And
2
just
cents.
and Justin, definitely to kind of piggyback off of that, that's why a lot of people were asking her about her policies and like what she actually has to going forward with the black population because of what we've seen with President Obama, not being able to do too much for the black people, and especially having her in office and the opportunity that she has definitely arises the question of, hey, what's going forward, and definitely her policies like with black and men's black people with black men's and black women's mental health. I feel like that was definitely one positive impact that she talked about with one of her policies. But definitely that's what a lot of people are looking for. There is going to be a lot of hoorah and a lot of stuff that's in between the lines, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are looking for the policies that are going to be helping them out over the course of these next 4 years. So definitely she has been talking about that, and people are excited with her policies.
Dr. King, in his book, Where Do We Go From Here? I think it was Where Do We Go From Here? He said that, and at the height of the civil rights movement, he said every 4 years there's going to be a pushback. Because what you're going against is, I used to say, and I probably this isn't the best way to say it, that racism and sexism is in the DNA of America. So somebody said DNA. So I will say how it's baked in to America, right? Because when America became America, there were two groups that were excluded. You know, black people and women. That's the way this thing was set up. And it still blows my mind that the number one thing in a democracy is the right to vote. And women weren't given the right to vote for 150 years. Just think about that. Just think about that concept, right? And so I personally think it's very difficult for, in the minds of a lot of people, to vote for a woman, especially a woman of color. I just think it's so much, she's not this, she's not that, she's not that. I mean, Trump could be anything, but she's not this, she's not that, she's not that, so she's got to have it. But I mean, I just think that we shall overcome things, starting with, Obama, and it's, this is the next step. And but it's always been, that's just looking at history.
Yeah, I would say that I don't know. I think it's I really do think that, like, as far as like the misogyny goes, you're gonna see like a clear alignment, I think, of like two different things. One thing of like people who, just misogynists, if you looking for a good leader and you look at, the convicted felon who took 2 years of all our lives and countless thousand deaths during the pandemic that he just didn't lead us through as the leader of the free world or whatever they say. Like I turned 16 during that time. I got a car. I feel like I could have been outside a little bit sooner, having fun, enjoying my life, if the president was just doing a job and, speaking to people with facts and truth, not politicizing issues and stuff. So I personally feel like he showed us who he was. I feel like as far as like governing a country as set out as how the country has defined it already, like I feel like she probably like the most squeaky clean you can get from the system. Like she hit all the levels of government, a lawyer. She like sharp. So as far as like a leader goes, like if you just blatantly choose like the less good leader, I do feel like you can be like, all right, now y'all just misogynist. But also I think you're gonna see people who want a certain way of life represented though, who don't want to, they might not want to vote for a woman, but like they don't necessarily want to say pronouns when they walk in a room, and like they associate that stuff with people who are more liberal and they know Donald Trump don't like pronouns and all these other things. And, you can insert all these other things with different little talking points that Donald Trump has that he just kind of represents for people. So it's like he more so represent like a way of life for more people. So you got the two sides of it. You got the misogyny and the racism because she black too. But then you also got people who just like, no, I don't like what y'all doing. Yeah. Like I'd rather be on a more, I would say, as far as American standards go, like more comfortable, more regressive, conservative, some might say, way of thinking. So
Journey, you have been just quietly listening. Anything you want to jump in? Jump in. I love the free flowingness of this.
You got to give me a second to gather my thoughts. There's a lot of good points being made right now, and give me a second to gather my thoughts. Come back to me.
I want to just throw Project 2025 out there. I don't know if people are taking it seriously. I don't know. I take everything seriously. So yeah, I mean, the playbook, football, coach, you got plays to call. You got the playbook, and that's Project 25 has been out there. But I just throw that into this. There's also, and this goes along with, the vice president being the candidate, a historic gender gap in this election. I mean, that's the other piece, right? Historic. I mean, Trump leads in men, and Kamala leads women big. And, that's never happened before. I think I saw something about the difference being plus 14 in past elections. Now the women and men disparity between the candidates is plus 24. I mean, it's huge. That's never happened before. I'm giving you more to think about and more to comment on. Why do you think that is?
I would say definitely it tends to lead towards the patriarchy of what we live in, and a lot of people still leaning towards their normal life of what they want. They are comfortable with a man leading them rather than a woman. So definitely, I feel like a lot of times that's why we're seeing the heavy male population go towards Kamala, because I feel like they're definitely still stuck in their ways about what the old used to be, and what they're used to. So a lot of people are used to change, or not used to change, but used to the similarity, and can't really get back behind Kamala with that. But I feel like again, with her campaign of like speaking towards the future, speaking towards, new things, new developments, I feel like has definitely did a shift. Not with the maybe not with the older generation, but just like Journey touched upon earlier with the younger generation, she has done a lot, especially with the young men, kind of getting that vote.
Do you think it has to do with women's reproductive rights being on the ballot? I think that's.
I think that's what it is. Like, I think it's like a rallying point, and it's symbolic though too. I think like last time, I don't know. I think people like the election hasn't happened yet. We don't have the polling data on who gonna vote where necessarily, because I'm sure they was probably saying that it was a lot more women voting for Hillary Clinton too. So what I'm saying, like it ain't. And when you look back at the people who didn't, put their vote where they pen was, we know who put Donald Trump in office last time. And it's because they wanted to stick to a status quo. And that status quo probably had more to do with the color of their skin and how they talk about people who they think don't belong in this country and all these other things that was going on too, outside of her just saying I'm gonna vote for a woman because she a woman. But I think as a candidate, and it's not necessarily bad to be like, I'm not just gonna vote for her because she's a woman, because you should vote for the person who you think is better for you, who you think align with you more. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily think all black people need to vote for all black people. I don't necessarily think all women got to vote for all women, et cetera, et cetera. But I think a lot of, we still got to see where these chips lay when we talk about this differential, because that might flip.
Right? Like he had his chance. We had him for 4 years and it was chaotic. Every single day was chaotic with the lies, with the different rights that were being taken away, the money that was being like funneled in different ways or just manipulated, the way they put in Supreme Court justices that weren't really supposed to be there or voted for. And then the I don't want to say the icing on the cake, but it was the January 6th. And all of a sudden, some people's eyes were opened and it like, oh, that was the moment, where you're like, what? And it's like, no, it's been chaotic and manipulative. And it's not just him, it's all the people that are behind him that are thinking that they're so for me, I think it's about money, right? And it gets to be really depressing where I think when we're listening to Kamala Harris, and I think it's so funny that we call her by her first name, like we know her because she's that good and brilliant and we associate with her and want to be represented by her. But it's like she has real issues that she has solutions to and can talk about and has facts. She can call out all these people when she was senator. And when people talk about her being vice president, she didn't do anything. I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, you can't do this. He didn't do it. Ugh, she has my vote, and that's for sure.
That's obvious. Okay, Journey, you can only stay silent for so long. No, you can jump in anytime you want to, hon. Because you say you got a lot to say. You have a lot to say, and you're thinking about it, which is Lady E likes. Lady E, you want to respond to that whole thing of the gap and why there is such it looks like a gender gap in voting this time? I think it's the big thing is, like Justin said, I think it is women's reproductive rights.
Yeah, I go back to the conversation with Dr. Taylor when he was on. He talked about the women who voted to support whatever their husbands were voting for, and I hear Justin with how Trump got in office before. Right. And I also agree that you should vote for what you know, who will serve you best or support you best. Yeah. And I agree with you, Ann, 100%.
Can we spend some time on that? Because and this whole thing of this has gotten a lot of, because Julia Roberts did this commercial, right? I mean, this Harris ad, and she said, you know, when you get in the ballot box, you can vote the way it's a secret ballot, and you ain't got to tell you. I guess, and you ain't got to tell your husband who you voting for. And the backlash that from
Wow.
minister, all these men,
Wow.
you're like, it was saying, what some guy, Jesse Waters, I guess he's a Fox guy. He said, if she don't tell me who she votes, she lies to me, that's grounds for divorce. I'm like, wait, so see, I don't want to even put this to Lady E, but you.
Wow.
So this whole thing of women have to. Where did that come from? Oh, have to vote the way am I in the and why isn't the other, let me give you the flip. Why don't men vote the way they're?
Yeah.
Why is, I never heard of that. Now, I never heard of that. I mean, I'm a black man. The women I know, they gonna vote what the hell they want to vote for. So, they ain't asking me, I ain't asking them, and so on and so forth. That was the craziest thing to me, and I felt like, what? I mean, you can call it patriarchy, you can call it negative viewing what you want, but these guys said you got to tell me who you vote, and you can't lie to me. I mean, I thought that was, now you talk about old. Is you ever heard of it before?
Domination.
As the women, Journey, what would you do that? Did you? Oh, Journey just looking at me. I ain't there. Look at her face. That was the craziest thing to me. But I guess these men say, and a lot of evangelicals, a lot of pastors to say, that's like, it's like she sinned. Like, what the hell? I don't know what that is, but I guess it's gonna be some divorces coming up because you got that you can't vote your conscience.
Well, and that's that other thing, right? With the Project 2025, it's the what is it? The no fault divorce goes out the window, and it's like,
That's
what?
right, that's right.
So
Stay
you
with them,
can't,
man.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's just,
Okay.
there's so much.
All right, there's all kinds of stuff in here. I just had to mention that, and Lady, if you want to say something about that, but you can.
No, I'm okay. I am stuck on Obama's administration, and one of the reasons, or the primary reason, that he wasn't able to do all that he probably hoped, planned, or had a desire to do, and that was because he had a cadre of people who had already decided, we will not support anything he says or does, even if it is to our benefit.
McConnell said that the night he got in office. He said, we ain't gonna let you do nothing for 4 years. You ain't passing nothing.
They did a whole special on that.
Yeah, that's true. And I do have to say that about what I was saying earlier with just like results and like the black community. But it's just interesting how we always pit it against all these systems to get some type of real change. And it seemed like we always, we don't reap as much, as we need. I personally am a firm believer in reparations. I feel like we got a lot that need repair right now. It's a lot of obvious stuff that need repair, in our cities in Black America. So I'm always gonna be firm on that. And I think it'd be cool if we can see like a lot more momentum, um, coming behind that as far as progress building, uh, and different things that we want to see as far as what we want in our community as well. I think it's always cool to always say like we want more things, but so like also always come back to our list and like assess our community's contemporary needs and start those conversations to figure out more ways to get stuff outside of Congress just barring everything in the Senate, just brainstorming and keeping that community spirit alive of progress. interesting to see how we do it now with a black person in office.
Um, most surprising moment of the campaign. Most surprising moment. I know what it was for me. I gotta start. Most enjoyable and surprising moment of the campaign. For me, it was that debate between Trump and Harris. That was like, man, that was like, because so many people doubted her. You know, so many people doubted her. They had never seen her on the stage. And here's the big bad Trump, you know, and here comes the unproven and untested on that stage, Vice President Harris. I remember watching that thing, and I said, because when you see, because like I said, I know her. I've been in the room with her. I've worked with her, and he was calling her dumb. Hey, man, that dumb Kamala Harris, dumb. Boy, you about to get into the ring with Muhammad Ali, you know, or pick your whoever fighter you want. And I remember Journey watching that, and she like, look, it was over in the first 15 minutes. I mean, she like, and that was like for a lot of people, like, man, you know, this, we really underestimated her. Now, I don't know if she's gonna give my vote, but she took him out, right? And he has avoided her ever since. So much to the point that he didn't want to do 60 minutes. He didn't want to have nothing to do. We don't even want on the same road, and all I could do was call her a bunch of names. And it's always interesting to me, and I want to throw this out there. It's interesting to me that he said she wouldn't be well regarded in an international stage, right? And he could handle it, but he can't handle her. So I was always blown away with that. Wait a minute, maybe she be you, but you can somehow be better than she would be. But that was my most this fascinating moment of this presidential election. Anybody else got one for you? Or just I just want to throw that out there. That was the one for me.
Yeah, I gotta say that also stands out to me a lot, especially how he originally pulled out of the debate when he found out he was going against her the first time around. And I think it's really interesting how you also pointed out how he's also tried to avoid her ever since. I think she definitely stood her ground and made those good points that we were all looking for. And yeah.
Anybody else got a special moment? It might be the convention. It might be on the other side, you know, when the dude talking about eating pets. I don't know, but anybody else got one that was like this? Whoa! One for any of you, Justin, Carl, or Lady?
As far as shocking goes, I mean, I know it's a little dark, but I was shocked when they shot at him. And then when they said it was a Republican dude too. That was by far the most shocking thing I think happened. I ain't never seen nothing like that happen in my lifetime with a person of that level of influence. So like that's not necessarily, you know, I know like a lot of times like in history around the civil rights movement, it was like a lot of people, you know, like just dropping. There's a lot of political violence, but like I definitely am not from an era of political violence, and that was just jarring to see in like a mainstream sense. But that was just interesting. I just thought it was shocking.
Shocking. Yeah. Yeah. Carl, you got one?
I would say the most shocking thing for me is how quickly all the endorsements came from Kamala. Definitely the magnitude of how everybody kind of fell in behind her and, you know, kind of gave her the support to make sure that they were all on one equal ground with him. And definitely another shocking thing is having Republicans vote, like saying publicly that they're voting for Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Definitely, I feel like that was very shocking, especially like well-known Republicans coming out and saying that. So I'll say that was one big thing for me, like seeing that, her getting that support.
Again, that's never happened. Lady E, a moment for you.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna hold my little thoughts until my little wrap up, if that's okay.
Okay. I got one more, Ann, because I wrote all these things to ask the callers, and now I get to ask them. and I said this before, I really thought January 6th was going to be a deal breaker. I just couldn't. I saw it 2 days. 2 days. I always remember. One is 9/11, right? You wake up and you what the flying it, and January 6th. In fact, I think she might have called me and said, talking about turning the TV, right? I turned the TV. And they storming the Capitol. I thought, I said, I knew it wasn't a movie, but I'm saying this is like, this is like Olympus's Burn. One of them Wesley Snipes movies, right? Where they going in there and they going into the Capitol, right? And they storming and they knocking people down and beating people and knocking it. This is the seat of the power in Washington. And I said, well, that's a deal breaker. I mean, you can't have you can't have either lets it happen or brings the people, rallies the people. That's gotta be. I am surprised that it hasn't been a deal breaker. And the people who said never, and there's a lot of prominent politicians who said that's it, and who were like, oh, it wasn't like, oh no, and letting this guy say it was a day of love or whatever the hell he's talking about. Are you surprised that wasn't a deal breaker? I'm curious, Journey and Carl and Justin. Are you surprised it wasn't a deal breaker? Because that's never happened. I mean, we had the turnover of power, peaceful transfer of power is what makes this place work. The vote.
I'm not surprised. I would say I think Donald Trump is like a cult leader. Like in all honesty, like as far as the influence goes, and like a cult leader with access to like like one of these, like in this era that we live in, the way that information is spread and the way that people just take talking points and like don't really learn and like listen to stuff and dissect arguments, like or like just understand information, like the way that we engage with it so quickly, it just leads to like easy propaganda, easy manipulation. That dude is a celebrity who know how to talk fast, who already in the American psyche, you know what I'm saying? Like he got the setups of like this cultish vibe. So like whenever he like make these people do this stuff, it's not necessarily surprising because like I said, he represents like a way of life for these people. You know what I'm saying? Like they feel like they literally felt like they was under attack from the United States government. They felt so empowered to stage a coup against the country that they love for him. So it's like if they that devoted, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I think it was interesting to see that like it was a thing that happened. Like as far I was just saying the thing with that's political violence. Like I haven't seen a lot of political violence in my lifetime. Both stemming to Donald Trump. I don't think that's a coincidence. But like I don't necessarily think it's shocking when you see like the level of influence and manipulation he got over people. And I just ultimately think that them people really, they care, that's their way of life that he represent. They see him as more than I think a president. So yeah.
Carl or Journey, did you think? I just assumed that was going to be a deal breaker because that's never happened. That's like anti-democratic. That's anti-American. It doesn't surprise you that people are now like, well, doesn't surprise either of you? No. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I gotta agree with Justin as well. I think it's sad that it's not surprising. I mean, we've seen his supporters do so much in order to continue to get him elected and to continue to back him with the policies that he has. So I don't think it's surprising that there are some that are so willing to stick by him and even justify the January 6th riot.
Okay. Carl, you got a thought on that?
Definitely kind of reiterating. No, I don't find it surprising that people have kind of brushed it away. Definitely, I feel like he has done, and shout out to him and his campaign because they've done an excellent job of kind of steering away from that. Definitely saying that he had nothing to do with it, that people took his words out of context, a lot of that. So definitely I don't feel surprised by them of the way it's kind of been swept under the rug. But definitely trying to see if it is going to affect Because it definitely has affected in some states. I would say definitely how people are going to the polls. But nah, I wasn't surprised that people aren't showing too much interest in it.
I think a lot of the people who was on the sides of the divides, like people who didn't like Trump already, like that was just probably more of like reason to not mess with him. And the people who was gonna mess with him after that, that was just more a reason to mess with him. Like that's more like I see what you're saying. It's definitely the dividing line, but like it's just we 3 years removed from it. And I think we all have like a sense of like that was like a junior year of high school. I was in, COVID school that day when he did that. So as far as how I'm saying, like this is starting the precedent for how we view life. Like we wasn't that old when Donald Trump was making this stuff like happen for the first time. So it's not that shocking, to see it. And then we're just scrolling on our devices and seeing it happen and living our own individual lives and seeing like, oh, I'm here, I'm not, at the Capitol and all that. It's not necessarily having as much of a, I feel like, big impact on us. But it's definitely interesting. I think we just live in like a real, I don't know, entertaining society. I feel like a lot of this is entertainment.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not. It's not entertainment. It is a preview of what's about to happen. And it's always easy to see and watch when it's entertainment, when it's really not me, when it really doesn't touch me. But it's just a matter of time before it gets close enough to me to touch me.
And I completely agree. It's like that way of life that people are defending. I think that shows up in very subtle ways in society. The people who gonna show up for Donald Trump, they're not gonna be the biggest, most dangerous racists who announce it. They are gonna be in very like subtle ways. So I definitely do agree with you in that. I would just say that I think the people who made their minds up about where the election stands already made it up. Yeah.
I remember, what time is it, Dr. Marshall? How much time I got before? I remember I was supervising some school psychology graduate students. And I had 5 of them at my school site. I was a school counselor at an elementary school. And I had 5 students that I was supervising and teaching them how to do play therapy, setting up a program where they were to meet with. Each of them had 10 students they were working with. And one of them was a European American male. And he was so uncomfortable. And so just trying to get to that place of comfort with him. And so what's going on? And he looked at me and he said, "You are a Black woman." Yeah. He said, "I'm just afraid that you are going to do to me what my people have done to you." I'm not going to break that down, but I'm just saying that's just something to think about. Now, the gentleman that was on earlier who talked about how his brother was released under Donald Trump's administration, but that same Donald Trump who did not release his brother, that was probably a state's responsibility. See, that's the thing. I'm not making decisions about whether or not you stay in jail. I'm going to give that to the state. So that won't be on my hands. Okay. That same Donald Trump said Mexicans are rapists, killers, murderers. It's interesting the things that we choose to hear and hold on to. But what we don't realize is all of this is a preview for what's coming. So depending on the outcome, talk to your grandparents. Let them tell the story. Talk to some old folks. Let them tell the story. So whether you've seen it or not, you can see it through the stories that old people can tell you. This has been a journey. This is something, and it means something. It ain't entertainment, baby. This is real, and it's about to get realer. That's not my wrap up, folks.
I want to say thank you for the wisdom.
I'm just saying. Because see, as a kid, when I was your age, I could not understand, why did they kill Martin Luther King? Are you serious right now?
No.
And then my school didn't even lower the flag. The least y'all can do is lower the flag. And see, and I watched that happen. I watched when they killed Kennedy. Driving down the street with the top down. Yes. And Kennedy was one of the few that had something positive to say. I mean, my mother and dad loved Kennedy. Why did they like him? Because he was saying something positive about Black people. Of course, when I did a little bit more history, I found out it was more to it than that. Yeah. But whatever he was saying, somebody didn't like it. He had to go. Oh yeah. Get your grandparents and see it from their lens. Is our time up? Am I ready to wrap up, or you want to ready?
Things I want to ask him. Thank you.
Go ahead, Dr. Marshall.
Well, the good thing about knowing history is, if you, how can I say, if you see it once, then you know when you see it again, it's the same thing. That's really what's nice about studying history. You can see the same thing. So when you talk about Reconstruction and you study Reconstruction, you can see, oh, this is what they did then. This was the playbook. Playbook doesn't change. They just may do it a little bit differently, but it's the same thing. So that's what's good. That's what's good. That's what's really good about studying history. That's why history is so important. Wrap up from each of you. And I'll start with, are the folks at your peers, are they gonna vote? Are they gonna vote? What have you heard? Justin, Journey, Carl, what have you heard? Are they into this, or they gonna sit this one out? I hope they do.
I know my friends better vote. I've been spread. I've helped countless members of my peers, members on my hall register to vote. I've showed them where they can go to research the props that are on their ballot, research different candidates that may be on the ballot outside of the presidential election. So I know with the amount of time and things that I've invested, and I'm volunteering at the polls this Tuesday to help out with the election and stuff. I've showed my peers on campus and back in my hometown where they can go to vote, how to do mail-in ballots and things of that sort, because it's not just my first election, it's their first election too. So I know they better vote. As much work as I put into that, as much time that I've dedicated to make sure the young minoritized youth's voices could be heard, they should be at them polls.
Great. Justin, what have you seen? They gonna vote?
Yeah, I see like a lot of energy around people voting. I know a lot of people on campus was getting their mail-in ballots, so I definitely saw that. And I say like the theme that like, you know how I started to show off earlier saying like I really saw the heaviness of like local elections and like how much that was affecting me. I really have just been like just reflecting on like the ability to vote though, because like that is some real important stuff that I'm talking about. And to think for the fact that they was withholding that right from Black people up into the 60s is insane. You can't talk about what's happening down the street from you. I think we get too drawn into like the big ticket of the presidential one, but they was doing this to our ancestors to the 60s, not being able to vote about stuff happening around the corner. So being able to like have a ballot today, that's been really important to me. So I think a lot of people are gonna do it just because, you know, we got the ability to. So I've been seeing a lot of energy around it.
And they're still trying to roll back voting rights. I mean, right now they passed some law that you can't, you know, Black people go to church on Sunday, but you can't vote on Sunday now, and you can't give up. I mean, they're always trying to, under the guise of voter integrity, they're trying to mess with our right to vote right now, 2024. Carl, what have you seen? Are they gonna vote?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely say, especially been learning a lot about the different elections, especially or not the elections, but the different senates and the different people with the states. So definitely, I would say people are excited to vote. People are excited to be out in their communities and actually create change. So definitely, it's been a huge turnout, especially like people being able to get their absentee ballots, because that was one thing that I was worried about. But multiple organizations here on campus have definitely made sure that people were going to be able to get those submitted and sent out as well. So definitely, it's been a huge change.
Great. Lady, I'll say one thing and I'm gonna turn over you as we always do. And I just want to say, especially for the first time, even the second time, this thing is a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? And those of us who have been at it for a long time, I think one of the reasons we're so serious is because we have been at it for a long time, right? And you want to see progress, and you got to keep moving the bar, and that's one of the reasons I really like. And there's going to be opposition and a pushback, Justin. You alluded to that. But this thing, to make this thing work for us, you have to keep pushing and keep moving. And you can have moments where you get discouraged, but what's that old phrase? We're gonna let nobody turn us around. And it's great to have others participate. New people come in, and I won't even say hand the baton. I'd say join the marathon relay race for freedom and democracy. This thing was set up to exclude you. Let's get that straight now. I say that all the time. It was set. You were not counted in this thing called the American Compact, and they didn't give you nothing. I always tell people they ain't give us nothing. You had to fight for everything you got. Literally march, get killed, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a struggle, and there's going to be a pushback. But they can't overcome those that are willing to go forward no matter what. And this is just this particular time. And there are times things rear up and really want to push you out. So what's at stake for me is democracy, period. See, because if this is going to be this is going to be very different. This is going to be very different than anything that has come down the pipe to me. I want to have a democracy that you can operate in, right? And so for me, what's at stake more than anything else is just democracy. Lady E.
In just a few days, we will see what's really going on in this country. The one selected will reflect or show the values, the morals, this nation's soul. Integrity, honesty, trust, and hope, or lies, a surprise, and perhaps the implementation of Project 2025. Will this country move forward? Will things turn around? Or will it roll backwards, turning things upside down? Yet Donald Trump, it's often heard that Kamala Harris is unknown, yet Donald Trump, without question, is clearly known as untrustworthy, lawless, and no integrity, alongside a law-abiding, upstanding, intelligent human being. Yes, in just 2 days, the world will see who this country has proven itself to be. This is Lady Estelle asking you to consider this.
Thank you, Justin, Carl, Journey. It's hard to get Journey to smile. She's just so serious, which is good. I like serious. It's gonna be good. Lady, you just thank him. This is my USF. Every time it's my USF, my alma mater, I just feel, oh, it's so wonderful. Just do. You want to say something to him before they go? Just you. Just nobody like you.
Absolutely, Dr. Marshall. Your brilliance, your presence, your brilliance is appreciated. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being one of those casting your vote.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Bye. Go
Bye.
study. Study. 4.0.